Welcome to the World of Concrete 360's Industry Influencer video series. I'm Bill Palmer, editor of World of Concrete 360. With us today we have Senior Managing Partner of Allen Villere Partners, Pierre, which is the premier mergers and acquisitions advisors and valuation service for construction materials industry. Welcome, Pierre.
Thank you, Bill. It's always a pleasure to do this.
And so, how did we do in 2021? Seemed like a pretty good year.
I think 2021 was a remarkably robust year given the backdrop of COVID. As you know, we had a decent year in 2020. Of course, the pandemic hit in mid-March. We had a shutdown. Most of the ready-mix concrete industry and concrete products generally were kind of found to be essential industries in almost every state. So production activity remained pretty steady. We finished the year at 377 million cubic yards. In 21, COVID continued on. We thought maybe we were climbing out of that a couple of times in 21. It didn't really happen, but production hit an estimated, we don't have the final numbers yet, but we estimate around 388 million cubic yards. And I can tell you that production is up anecdotally from all of our clients. We're probably talking to 2 and 3 dozen producers a month in a variety of different things that we do. And they are telling us that they're off to a very strong start the last couple of months of 2021, and the backlog for 22 looks fantastic. I think we'll push past 400 million cubic yards in 22.
How does that compare to 2019?
That is, both of those years are up. I think 2019 was at around the 350 or 360 million cubic yards. I'm just trying to do that from memory. But just to point out, we're not where we were as far back as 2005 and 6. As you recall, the subprime mortgage market was fueling the ready-mix concrete industry, primarily new home construction, and we hit 458 million cubic yards, and that was 6. We dropped to as low as 257 million cubic yards, or a total of 201 million cubic yard contraction in 2010, and we've been climbing back steadily. So I think in 22 we'll push the 400 million cubic yard mark.
Okay. So you're optimistic about the next year. What are the biggest markets? What do you see that's going to be driving things this year?
I think that the areas where we'll continue to see growth, obviously, will be new home construction. I think we're going to settle into the kind of the historical number of starts going back really to the 1960s, believe it or not. When it's all kind of settles out in its steady eddy, it's about a million 6 per year. I think we'll maintain that number again in 22. Obviously, the huge impact we're going to see is in infrastructure spending. There were many projects in the pipeline, and a lot of just public work. Distribution centers are replacing the big box. 10 years ago, 15 and 20 years ago, we were building all the Home Depots and Lowe's and Best Buys. Now we're building Amazon distribution centers and distribution centers for others, Walmart and others. And those are large, lucrative projects. And there are many of those on the drawing boards that we think will start turning the shovels there throughout 22.
How about geographically? Are you seeing big differences across the country?
Yes, I think the whole nation is doing well, but we will continue to see really robust activity in Florida, Texas for sure, and Arizona. A little less so in Southern California. Even here in Nevada, which is starting to see a huge influx of Californians, I think the Nevada market will continue to do very well. Reno has been one of the hottest housing markets in the United States the last 4 or 5 years, as California Bay Area, Silicon Valley companies open divisions over Reno.
Because they found more affordable.
Oh yes, oh yes. I'll tell you that what we hear is they'll take a business. Google will take a business unit with 400 young code writers and say, we're gonna move your entire unit to Reno. And they say, wow, oh wow, well we don't want to go to Reno until they get on the motor coach. They head out there for the day, and they see that for the same price as the little 1,200 square foot bungalow that three of them are rooming in together, they can, for that same price, they can get a 3,500 square foot house with a swimming pool and no state tax.
Oh.
That's a big pay raise right there for them.
Yeah, makes sense. So what do you think the biggest challenges are going to be in 22 and 23?
The big challenge is what it's been historically in our industry, which is qualified drivers, and then of course for the World of Concrete crowd, which is contractors, they're going to continue to have labor issues. So driver shortages, placement worker shortages, just hourly people in general are continuing to be a huge challenge. I think there's some real promise going forward. It's years out in things like 3D printing that will dramatically reduce the amount of labor that's required on a construction project. But those are probably 10 and 15 years maturing fully. Now, 15 years from now, it'll be a lot of fun to see how far 3D printing has come. Because it's still in its infancy.
Yeah. Are there the supply chain problems affecting the ready-mix industry?
There are sporadic hiccups in cement supply. That's happened 2 or 3 times in 2021. The cement companies are very fast on their feet in terms of transportation and logistics issues, and they're trying to fill those voids with imported cement. And I think that's going to be an issue for ready-mix producers. There are, as you would expect, just a shortage of all manner of individual products. I like to shoot birds. I can't get 410 shotgun shells. They're sold out all over the United States. I don't know how that happens.
Yeah. Are they having trouble getting equipment, trucks, and?
Yes. I am told that the truck industry is a year out. Mixer truck industry is a year out. It has driven, like the used car market, it has driven the price of used mixers up. I have a client who's looking to make an acquisition in a geographically adjacent small city. As much as anything, what's motivating them is trucks and drivers that this target company has, and that's more important to them than the economics of the deal. They'll pay a pretty handsome price to be able to get not only the customer list but the trucks and drivers, because there's a shortage of both.
Yeah, I was talking to a contractor yesterday, and he was telling me about the CIM auction that's taking place here.
Right.
And he said, the only reason I would bid on one of the pumps that they've got there is I think I can get it immediately.
Yes, that's exactly right.
If I have to buy it from Schwing or Somero, it's going to take me a long time to get equipment.
That's right. It's probably a year. As much as a year.
Yeah,
so
crazy. Yeah. So you think the infrastructure bill is going to have a significant impact?
No question. I can tell you that this, if you analyze what the infrastructure bill, $1.2 trillion could be, it's probably the biggest single inflation adjusted for 2022 dollars, the biggest expenditure we've had since the Eisenhower Interstate program in the late 1950s. I'm sorry, 56, 57. And as you know, those projects went on well into the 1970s, and then after that, they started widening and starting to add exits, and the interstate highway system is being worked on all the time. So this will have a huge shot in the arm for this. I think this represents a decade of construction opportunities in public works, obviously.
Right. Well, it sounds like we're going to have a good few years.
I think so. This is as good as it gets.
That's a good thing.
So.
thank you for talking
Good.
with us today.
Thanks, Bill. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
All the best to you. Take care.